Welcome back, everybody. It's been a while since Comic Book 101's been here. We're glad to be back. It's a little change. We're in a new studio now. We're no longer at our old studio. We have some new co-hosts. It's going to be a new show. It's going to be fun. Before we start introducing everybody, let's go ahead and do our normal housekeeping real quick. And our emails, you can reach us at home@comicbook101tv.com, info@comicbook101tv.com. Find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Yancey Street Comics, place we all go to pick up our comic books. They're literally now in the same building we are, just right a few doors down. Don't forget, check out Mark Muncie's books at Erie's Travels, and we never know, Mark may pop up on the show from time to time. But let's introduce some new people we have. We have Jordan and Lane. How are y'all doing?
Hello, good, very good.
How you doing?
I'm doing good.
It's exciting to be here.
Yeah, it's been a year, so gotta get back into the whole hosting the show. It's fun. I'm happy to be back. Happy we have some hosts and everything here in the studio. We do miss Remy and Ken, our old hosts that helped out last year. Who knows? They may pop up time to time, zooming in. So hopefully we'll be able to see them soon. But let's introduce yourself. And
so my name's Lane, obviously, and we just went over that a little bit. Let's see. I got in contact with you through John. Actually, I just kind of came across the studio, and then he was mentioning how he had this show, and he brought it up to me, and he got me in contact with you. So it was really kind of all happened at once, and it was really cool because I'd always wanted to do a show like this, and this was already really set up, and I didn't have to really put in any work to do this. But so that was just super exciting to have this all set up, and then you guys just kind of do this. I get to come here and then just like
talk about comics and everything.
Comics all day, so, or at least the hour. But
yeah, it could be. We could do an all-day episode.
That would be a little
strenuous.
It'd be long. Yeah, but I'm up for a challenge.
Take a lot off my mind.
Oh yeah.
So tell us a little about you.
A little bit about me. Well, I guess my name's Jordan, like you said, and I'm just here to talk comics. Have some fun, like you said. But yeah.
Yeah, when you said introduce yourselves, I guess we're just talking like, oh, hey, we're here to talk comics, instead of like actually what we do. But I just work at Target, so there's nothing important about me.
I used to work at Target many, many, many years ago. Never again.
We made that connection. Yeah, don't.
Yeah, don't work for Target. Don't do security, TPS. No.
I guess we should mention we are in the process of making comics. So.
Yeah.
So all right, tell me about that.
It's an interesting process, especially since we are doing it from scratch and not taking we don't have any mentors really, I would say, to like help us with the process. So it's really just looking at a comic and like taking it apart and the elements and seeing like what we have to do to tell the stories with the panels and how to read the panels correctly and stuff like that. We've been working on an idea for about 3 years that we are finally starting to roll out, and we're comfortable with.
So who's your biggest inspiration in comic books?
Well, the name we mentioned right before we started recording, it seemed like it's hard not to mention, obviously you got Stan Lee and Jack Kirby and like some of the greats from back in the day. At least that's for us. But Todd McFarlane is my absolute number one favorite comic creator. And what he did, I wasn't sure when to mention this, but like what he did in the 90s was just like revolutionized, and it was just it's inspiring. I mean, it inspired me. I watched like a small documentary about Image, and it was like I need to start making comics, and it was like this is what I want to do. And at least in the same field, because he built a company from like the ground up, and people knew who he was when he built it, but
when he started, he brought on some big heavy hitters too.
Oh, yeah.
Robert Kirkman and stuff like that. And look at the comics that they put out between Spawn, Walking Dead, which put out a huge TV show for how many years that's been going on now?
Oh man, I honestly I forget sometimes it's even still happening.
Yeah,
is it still going on?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's on the last season. I think they're doing now this year.
Yeah.
Then it's finally over. Then you have all the spin-offs that they did.
I forgot that.
Yeah, I don't watch any of those. I don't even watch Walking Dead anymore.
It's been a while for me
It's
as well.
probably been 4 years.
Yeah.
It's just, meh.
But it's been a fun experience for the both of us. I like writing. He's the artist. It was kind of just, that we met through friends and we're like, we got to make a comic together. And I think that was basically what we knew we wanted to do, like within the week after meeting each other. So
what got y'all into comics?
go ahead.
For me, it was the movies and the cartoons. Like growing up, I was really into the 90s Spider-Man animated series.
Oh, yeah.
Good show.
I had one of the discs that I would just ruin because I would watch it just over and over again when I was like really young. And then ever since the Sam Raimi movies, onto the X-Men around that time, that's really got my interest in the comic books, going. So.
Yeah, I would have to say the same thing. 90s Spider-Man was the show for me. I mean, I didn't want to age anybody here because Sam Raimi, the first Sam Raimi movie was the first movie I saw in theaters. And I still remember at least somewhat of the experience I had then. So I remember growing up and going to see because comic book movies started to come out a little bit more, especially with all the Batman movies with Christian Bale and Iron Man coming out in 2008, and just moving on from there. Those got me into comics, and then not only did I knew they were actually stories that were on paper, but I didn't really take advantage of that until my stepdad was handing me comics and this is where these stories came from. This is what you need to this is what you need to read. This is stuff is probably more important than what you're seeing in the movies.
Yeah.
Right.
So, or at least a little bit more intriguing.
See, what got me into it when I was, I want to say, 12, 13 years old, living in Orlando, was out walking down the road, going to the park, and someone threw out a big giant chest outside. I'm like, oh, this is a cool chest. I want to take it home. And I opened it, and there was a shit ton of comic books in there. I'm like, okay, I got something to read now. And there were so many Star Wars episode comics and X-Men and everything. So that's what got me into it. Just so I'm like, all right, now I got these. Let me start reading them. And then just became hooked from there.
Yeah.
Then the X-Men cartoons, Spider-Man cartoons were all over Fox TV and just watching them every day.
And it's so easy to go back to those shows because they're on Disney Plus.
Yeah. And X-Men's coming back too with the original cast.
Yes.
So that's exciting.
Yes.
I'm super excited about that.
They haven't really mentioned anything about the what they're going to do with the animation. I can only imagine it'll stay close to.
I hope it comes back to the original way.
Yeah.
Because that's the only way they should be doing
be
it.
hand-drawn, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned Sam Raimi's Spider-Man. Have you seen the new Spider-Man movie?
Yes.
Okay, so what did you think seeing Tobey come back?
Oh my God.
Dude, I got my
Spoiler, but by now, if you haven't seen
I
it,
got goosebumps
I don't
just
care.
talking about it. Yeah. No. So actually, me and Jordan actually were we set up a small date. We we got to go see this movie.
Date. We got to go see it.
Spider-Man's both of our favorite superheroes for sure. I mean,
it's the shirt I'm wearing.
I've got the shirt, and he won't even show his.
I got the colors. That's
Yeah,
what matters.
but we're we got to go see this, and I had to bring my fiance along, but
You had to.
but no, we all really wanted to see it. So, but when we got there, Jordan's like, I got to tell you something, and I'm like, what? He's like, I already saw it. And I was like, how dare you? We went to go see it on Saturday, and I think he saw it the Friday night before. And I was like, you
cheated on me the
no,
night
it was
before.
Yeah, I know. And he went to go see it at Hollywood 18, and we went. I was like, we had tickets for Woodlands, AMC Woodlands, Dolby Theater, and I'm like, you went to the most ratchet, you just cheated on me with the most ratchet place.
Stooped so low.
Yeah, I know. It wasn't even good for you, was it? I was like, I can't even imagine. But no, I mean, yes. Back to your original question, seeing Tobey and Andrew coming back. I couldn't actually put it into words how exciting it was. I say I teared up about 12 or 13 times in that.
See, I'd never seen the Andrew Garfield's movies of Spider-Man. I've avoided those. I never thought he was the best actor.
Yeah.
I know that he plays a good Peter Parker. Or no, he plays a good Spider-Man.
Yes.
Bad Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Toby was a great Peter Parker.
Yeah.
Right.
But that's what's great about Tom Holland. He's younger. He's able to do both of them and do it great.
Yeah, that's what I always thought. Like, and I think both Jordan and I have always agreed that in some way, but we're
most
both
part.
like, Tobey Maguire is so like close to our hearts. It's,
Yeah.
it's like it's hard to be like, oh man, I love this Spider-Man more, but you know, it's almost like that New York together scene they have in the movie.
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like there's a. You mess with one of us, you mess with all of us scene. Like they got that in both the first and second movies. So
and they
it's
did the meme.
Yes, they did do the
like,
meme.
I'm happy y'all did the meme.
Very-
That worked out perfect.
Very small, but they did it, and
But-
it wasn't. Yeah,
Watching it made me want to go back now and watch Andrew Garfield movies. It actually gave me respect for him as Spider-Man. I'm like, okay, now I got to actually sit and watch his movies.
yeah.
Yeah, I would say it was more of a redemption for him.
Yeah.
In his
Oh,
role,
for sure.
You know,
And there's rumors he's coming back again now for a third one for his
would
series.
be interesting to see.
And they had an idea. They said it was like very slim to get Toby back to do a fourth one, but they said they had somebody had the idea of bringing in Kraven's Last Hunt storyline into that
Yeah.
fourth movie, and then that's how to finish out that
Don't tease
series.
me, man.
Yeah, I know. I don't want to.
I'm
but
waiting for Miles. I
I've been
want
wrong
Miles
before.
Morales.
I thought it was going to
I
happen.
want Miles.
I thought it was going to happen in No Way Home, but it didn't.
Because
And-
we know he's in that universe because of the movie when we got his uncle.
yes, which
So-
was
Prowler. Donald Glover playing.
Donald Glover. Yeah. I was trying to think of his name because I always say Donald Glover or Danny Glover, and one of them's from Lethal Weapon, and one of them's a rapper. So like I don't.
But Miles would be great. And actually, I figured out who I think would be the perfect Miles Morales. Do y'all watch Cobra Kai?
I've seen.
I've heard good things.
clips. A lot
So
of
the
clips.
new season of Cobra Kai introduces this young, he's probably 12, 13 years old, little
Mm-hmm.
black boy. And watching him, I'm like, he would be Miles. He's perfect. He
Yeah.
looks like Miles and everything.
Yeah.
And he's a good actor. I'm like, he needs to come be Miles.
Yeah, it was funny because there's a kid I work with, Cameron, and he looks exactly like Miles from the animated movie.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you could play Miles. Like, I don't know if he's an actor or anything, but I'm like, you could play Miles. And yeah,
So what publishers do y'all enjoy the most?
it's hard not
it
to
not
say
obvious?
anything else other than like what we got on our shirts.
You know, there are other ones out there. for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah, there are
I do
other ones
enjoy
out
other
there.
ones. I don't know. Marvel just has a different taste, you know,
Hmm.
than the others.
Yeah. I think Image is still probably my favorite, just
I would-
because I love Spawn. I have a huge Spawn tattoo on my leg, two of them, and just when Spawn came out, I just fell in love with the artwork, the style. It was just different than what DC and Marvel was putting out. It was more, it had more violence, and
Yeah.
the storylines were really good at the time.
Yeah, and the thing with Image too, especially since it's so still fresh, I guess. It's like they only focused on these characters from DC and these characters from Marvel for the longest time.
Yeah.
And then finally, it's like Image is starting to come out with new characters, and it's like the one thing from DC that they put out in the '80s that was like new was Booster Gold, and I love Booster Gold, but like they weren't putting out things that people were actually picking up. I
Yeah.
would say. So like when it came to Image, we got different stories, and they didn't like Spawn. Or at least Spawn then, because I think they're starting to do a little something different with it. You didn't have to read an issue from this comic and this comic and this
Yeah.
comic to understand what's happening next.
Right.
But Spawn guy, we're over 300 episodes. He's in a Guinness Book of World Records now for the longest comic book ran by an independent company.
Yeah.
And so I love Spawn.
So just recently, they've reached 300.
300's been quite a while there.
Yeah, maybe a year or two ago. Right?
Yeah, I think the last one was 350. I think now came out not too long ago. And I know they're also got more Spawn comic spin-offs now of different storylines, Gunslinger and everything.
They just came out with Scorched. I think was released yesterday. The first issue of Scorched was released.
I gotta
yesterday,
go pick
think.
that up now.
Because
check that out.
I saw McFarlane live, and he was like signing a bunch of issues, and I was like, I need to get to the comic book store on that day and see if there's any at like Yancey Street down there. So unfortunately, I didn't get to go. I was working. But
Yeah, I haven't been over Yancey in a while. Steve, I apologize. I will be there soon. Hopefully this weekend I can swing by now and start picking up more stuff. My work schedule, being working in Tampa and driving an hour there, an hour back,
Yeah.
and the mall hours at the time were shorter. So I could never make it up on time. And weekends, I'm usually with my girlfriend or we're doing something. So I never had time even on the weekends to come. But it's changed. I now will work closer. What are some of the well, first we'll go, what are some of the best story arcs that have been and worst story arcs that you've seen in comics? Then we'll be able to get into our topic for the night.
this was a hard thing to think about, so I don't know if you have anything off the top of your mind.
I have one for worst. For best story arc, you said Civil War earlier, which I would
mean,
agree. One of the
Because that
better
was
ones.
a lot. Civil
Yeah.
War is
Yeah.
not only those 6 issues that tell the whole story. There is so much more to Civil War that
Yeah.
I never even thought. So
Which is way better than a movie.
Oh,
You gotta
yes.
read the
100%.
comics. It's so much better than a movie.
yeah, the comics is. I mean, they had characters that the movies couldn't have brought in,
Yeah.
even if they wanted to. So I think my wallpaper for the longest time was the Punisher holding Spider-Man in his superior
Yeah.
armor.
I think it's an Iron Spider.
Iron
armor.
Spider, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, sorry. Worst, it's hard because I only really pick up the things I know I want to read. But I did read Flash #1 that came out maybe a year or 2 ago, and I just did not get into
the
it.
reboot they did?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I just did not, I couldn't do it. And I think the first of his rogues gallery he fought was King Shark, and it was so annoying. And I don't know, I just couldn't get into it. Maybe it's someone else's
Dude,
thing,
I
but-
remember when you read that. I want to say you told me what he says in the comic. It's he says his name 5 times.
It's almost like I am
that's his
Groot.
only line. Is
Yeah.
I'm King Shark, and he just keeps on saying it the whole comic.
Yeah, which
You're
is
just so
maybe his
pissed
thing,
about it.
but I never even knew that.
That's
I don't
all you
know.
can say is I'm King Shark.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
It's like a fucking Pokemon.
I know one of my favorite storylines was on Blackest Night.
Black and
I
Night is a
love that
very
series
good
they did
issue,
because
yeah.
it went across all the big comics in DC Universe. It went through there, and I always thought that was one of my favorite ones.
Yeah, and going back to Image, I sat down in a day after reading the first issue of Walking Dead, and I read 127 in a day in a sitting, and because honestly, I loved it, and I just had the day off. I wasn't at school or whatever at the time, and I was like, I am reading this, and I did. I had to put something on in the background because I was couldn't just listen to the silence the whole time. But I was addicted up until that point, and then just seeing the characters progress, especially since I read it in that amount of time, and that was not necessarily an arc from a series, but just that entire run was just.
I've been meaning to read that because I know from you and other people I've heard have just read it within a day.
Yeah.
A lot of it.
I mean, and I almost have, and it, at some point may reach as much respect for Robert Kirkman as I did Todd McFarlane, because he doesn't. I haven't seen anything he's put out that I don't like.
Yeah.
Walking Dead, Invincible, Oblivion Song right now is something I've been keeping up with. Is really good. I think he's got something that's Boom 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 or something. I can't remember the name, but everybody's picking up what he's writing, and
I gotta check that one out.
yeah,
He's a hot writer.
Another
Yes.
good one I enjoyed was Marvel Zombies when they did that one.
yes.
Zombies was fun.
Oh yeah, I remember that. I don't know if I actually. I did read the first issue of that. I don't think I've continued the run, but they brought that back with What If.
Yeah.
And that was obviously a big deal for people who loved the comic.
Plus Deadpool, and that's just great.
Yes.
Can't go wrong with Deadpool in that
Oh, yeah.
one. head pull and everything. But let's go ahead and get into our topic. So normally we pick out a topic and we all just dissect that comic, tell you everything about it. But since this is the first week with everybody here, I want to do something different. Let's talk about our favorite comics that we enjoy reading. So let's go ahead and start with yours first.
Okay, the first one I picked, I will go back to every now and then, Kingdom Come. Really, it wasn't even for the story at first. I liked Mark Waid from something else entirely, and I think it was one of his Flash runs. And I came back to that, and just the... Oh, and I also love Alex Ross as an artist.
Great artist.
Yeah, and then combining
amazing
those two.
work.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, yeah. And combining those two, and then coming back to that whole story, just seeing how the characters progressed over years of stories that you never got to read, or like essentially, I guess. It was just really cool to see those characters. Old and like talking about experiences that we would have never really known. It's almost like seeing like the hidden stuff in the Batcave without knowing the story behind it. And
because we have like an older Superman that's going gray in this. He's not the young Clark Kent that you're used to.
Exactly.
Right.
And like the finishing, the end of that that run, they're like sitting in that diner and then just kind of like they're just talking, and they're actually in the diner. I think there's little things in the background you can see where it's like little action figures or like little Green Lantern flags or something like that. And like the Flash can't stop moving, and like it's insane, and it's amazing. It's incredibly written, and the art obviously is Alex Ross, so you can't go wrong with that.
Yeah. And have you seen his artwork he sells on his website?
Yes, there's a piece I picked up of a Marvel thing a while ago, which was a print. But he's been actually selling hand-drawn work. It's not just prints, and that stuff goes for like, I don't know.
Oh yeah, we had an
$12,000.
episode a couple years ago all about Alex Ross and so much awesome artwork.
Oh, I can't even imagine. Like that guy's work is incredible. But I mean, for you, like as an artist, like
he's like a god.
Yeah, I mean, it's like it's like you almost don't even think about him because it's like you don't want to know he exists.
Well, no, I'm always reminded when I see his work. But yeah, he just inspiring.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Seeing his work probably inspires you to want to do better in your artwork and everything.
It really does. Yeah, he really does like photorealistic paintings like no one else.
Yeah.
Are we moving on to this?
Yeah, we can move on to the next one.
So back to Todd McFarlane, his Spider-Man run. I mean, he created the spaghetti webbing, and like that was his thing.
Probably the best Spider-Man run there was.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And not only was he going from Amazing Spider-Man, he quit that at one point because he didn't like being like kind of he didn't like all the rules that were set for what he had to do for Amazing Spider-Man. So then he eventually got Spider-Man. And he ran that Torment series, that small arc that he did, and that was amazing. He even picked up the black suit there in the end, I believe. And again, just the artwork is astonishing to me. And
because of that run he did, Spider-Man 300, we get the black suit, we get Venom because of him.
Yes, and this was around edging up until the time he left. To create Image, but coming along with that, it was just I can always go back to that series. It's hard to pick up those single issue comics now.
Oh yeah, because they're definitely expensive. If you do find any, they're not going to be cheap.
Yeah, and I
best thing to do is just buy the big book of it right now.
Yeah, exactly. I think I did get to pick up a couple of issues of the original of the first prints a little bit ago. They may not have been a big deal then, with like all the movies and stuff coming out now, because like obviously everybody's buying Spider-Man stuff right now.
Yeah.
So it's probably definitely harder now to grab that stuff.
Especially with the Venom movies and everything. Venom's gone real popular now.
Oh yeah. And then my last one, Flashpoint. Flash was probably my favorite character starting to get into comic books, and Jeff Johns, I forgot to shout him out. He's one of my favorite writers.
See, he's a great writer, and he's done so much in DC and with the shows as well, with the Arrowverse and everything.
And they were almost the rock stars of writing DC issues as like Greg Capullo and Scott Snyder are now. It was too different. It was like they came in after, I mean, they were still working around the same time, but I mean, that whole story was amazing. It was only 6 issues, kind of like Civil War, but they did so much more with it than just follow like the Flash's point of view. They did like Captain Cold, which I think his name was Citizen Cold, and he was actually a good guy. I actually really liked that arc, and some people might find it ridiculous because no one even cares about Captain Cold. But they did that with Green Lantern, but it was just Hal Jordan. I don't think he even got the ring yet, or at all. I think Abin Sur kept it, and then he came back and
I know they even crossed with Booster Gold.
Yes,
you mentioned earlier.
Yeah, Booster Gold. I found. No, I can't. I found him in a Lego game, and then I was like, I need to know more about this guy. And then I started reading, and I read all of the issues I could find of him, and I know more about Booster Gold than I think most people. And
we'll have to do an episode about Booster Gold because I don't know that much.
I will bring in my signed Booster Gold by Dan Jurgens, #1. And I'll set it right up here at the front.
Well, see, Flash has always been fun in the comics just because he screws so much up.
Yes.
Everything he does, he screws up.
Yeah.
But he somehow fixes the whole universe when he's done with it.
Yeah, almost like the TV show.
Yeah. Which I haven't watched last season. I stopped watching it. So I need to get caught up on that.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, what else can you do with Flash? I mean, when you look at the comic books, they're constantly writing different storylines for him, or constantly rebooting. I mean, that's DC.
And who else is better than reboot the franchise than Flash? Because he can change everything.
Exactly.
I want to go save my mom. Oh, I just screwed up the whole universe.
Yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, those are my top 3. My top 3 stories.
And with the new Flash movie, that's supposed to be rebooting the DC universe as well.
Bringing back Keaton.
Oh, I can't wait for that.
Batfleck. It's
so much is going to happen for that. It's exciting.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, I can't wait. Plus, I just enjoy Flash. And I think Ezra Miller plays a great Flash. He's a great Barry.
And some people underestimate the powers that he may have. If they had like some sort of like, I guess it would go to like DC Vertigo or something if they did something like the Max series.
Yeah.
And but like he could just phase through people, and like people don't realize that the power is. I think he's definitely held back. I mean, he has his rogues gallery consists of a guy who shoots fire and a guy who shoots ice, and then the opposite, a giant gorilla, and then
I love
himself, basically. Yeah,
Reverse Flash.
Somebody who's just overly obsessed with him. So,
it was me, Barry.
It was me, Barry. Yeah. So, yeah, I feel like they don't use him to his potential enough in the comics. But that's my own personal.
I'm excited to see what happens with him because. Oh, yeah. It'll be good. The DC Universe needs a reboot again. It definitely does, because we don't talk about how bad Justice League was.
I hope they just
Did you watch this guy?
Doing what they're doing.
What was that?
I'm just saying, like, it seems like they're doing like Elseworlds type things.
Yeah.
In their movies, like with the Joker and Batman and whatever.
It was funny because they're like, oh, the new Batman movie with Robert Pattinson is like, oh, this is going to be the new start to our DC universe. And then they're like, after the Snyder Cut came out, they're like, that's in Earth 2, actually.
So, I'm excited for that version of Batman, though, because it's going to be year 2 Batman. We're not going to get his normal kick-ass self. It's the detective side that we never get to see.
Yes.
So it's going to be a lot darker, and he's not going to be well-edged Batman.
With the Riddler. And
that Riddler
with Paul Dano is a very interesting choice. I always wanted to be. I always
outfit.
Yeah.
Based on the Zodiac Killer.
Yes.
Looks like.
Oh, wow. Oh yeah. The guy I always wanted to play the Riddler was the guy from Lost. I can't think of his name right now, but he's got like the round glasses.
I know what you're talking about. He's real bug-eyed.
Yeah, real bug-eyed. That's who
he's a great actor, though.
Yeah, because he kind of reminded me. Oh, and I really wanted to mash him with the Riddler from the Arkham Knight games or the Arkham City games.
But then you get Penguin. And the person playing Penguin,
Colin
you can't even recognize that's him. Wait a minute, is that who I think it is? It doesn't look like him.
Yeah.
That's Bullseye from Daredevil.
Yeah,
Worst
everyone's gonna have
Daredevil
a
movie.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Bad movie, but
Oh yeah.
Dude, I tried rewatching it recently. I just couldn't get through it.
Yeah.
You know, we got to the playground scene. I was just
Oh,
like,
God.
I'm done. I'm done. I can't do this anymore.
the only good thing about that movie is who played Froggy.
Foggy.
Oh, yeah. John, the director.
Yep.
Oh,
John Favreau.
John Favreau, yeah. John
Because
Favreau.
now, because of him, look at everything he did. He did Iron Man and everything.
Yeah.
So he kind of made up for that.
I know people actually still like Michael Clark Duncan as Kingpin.
I enjoyed him as Kingpin.
Yeah.
He did a good Kingpin, but I enjoy the one that's doing Kingpin now in the shows.
Right.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah. And who I didn't realize was the bug-eyed, the weird
Yes, from
alien
Men in
character
Black.
From Men in Black. I was
Yep.
like, that is not the same guy. But sure enough, that was pretty wild to see. I'm taking up way too much time. We should move on to Jordan's
Good.
issues.
Let's go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'll just start off with The Dark Knight Returns. You know, I was just rereading it the other day. I do come back to it every so often. I mean, Frank Miller, I would say, probably the best of his work.
Oh, he definitely, yeah.
You know, I mean, he did do Daredevil, and that's another pick of mine. But
Sin City.
yeah, you know, starting off with like the new or futuristic version that's different from Kingdom Come. You know, you get to see a different side of these heroes, but like, you know, it's almost. I think the scenario is very similar, where they're all like retired
Yeah.
or like gone away or doing their own thing. But just the way that it places itself in time, like around like the 80s, with like sort of Reagan as like the president.
Yeah.
You know, sort of like being with Superman as his lapdog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The whole thing.
It's almost like he doesn't even want to put the suit back on in that series, right? I mean,
It's more
It's
like
been a while
he
since I've
does
read
it
it.
out of necessity or,
yeah.
you know.
Was it Frank Miller's run that was the breaking of the bat? Was that his run? I
don't know.
can't remember.
Which one?
When they broke Batman's back.
That one's
Oh.
with Bane.
Yeah.
But was that Frank Miller's version?
That was Nightfall.
Okay.
I don't believe it was Frank Miller. I want to say another writer.
I
But
think.
yeah, because Frank Miller only did what Dark Knight Returns and Year One. I want to say
I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, it wasn't his. I don't recognize
he has like his
the
own.
names.
It's like Frank Miller version of Batman type
Right.
thing.
Which they also brought in a very interesting Robin for that. Like it was the first girl Robin,
Right.
Carrie Kelly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that was really cool to see. And it's been a while since I've actually read it or seen it. Did the adaptation do very well for it? Like, did it do it justice?
You mean the animated series?
Yeah, the
or the
animated
animated movies. I would say pretty well. They are like split into two parts, so they have enough time to like do most of what's in the comic. You
Right.
know?
I haven't
they-
got to watch it yet.
They do it like pretty accurately. You know, it's almost like the Watchmen movie, the live action, where it's like almost shot for shot.
Yeah.
But
I couldn't get into the Watchmen movie.
yeah, no, it's not as good as the comic, but
Comics were
Yeah, what
good.
are you gonna
The
do,
movie
man?
just, I'm like,
Yeah.
just too damn long.
yeah.
Yeah.
It bored me.
It translates a lot better in animation than it does in live action.
Yeah.
A lot of the time, if they do the shot
Oh, for sure.
shot.
We always talk about that one part where it's like comic quotes can't turn over to movie quotes because it's
Yeah.
the Punisher movie with Thomas Jane
Uh-huh.
where I don't even remember what he says. I mean, it's almost the same thing with.
But that's still a better Punisher movie than Dolph Lundgren.
Oh yes, oh yes, absolutely.
Warzone was a great Punisher movie, though. But the best Punisher is still the Netflix version.
Yeah,
I think that has been the best Punisher.
yeah,
John Bernthal, yes.
Yeah.
yeah. He's definitely. I definitely hope they bring him back. I mean, they did it with Daredevil. I mean, so
There's hope. As long
There
as
is
we
hope.
don't just get rid of Iron Fist. We don't need him. That's the one we don't need back.
Yeah.
Just redo that one.
Yeah, I think the actor said he's like up for it too. So
No, wait. Iron Fist? Or?
No,
Oh,
John
okay.
Bernthal.
I was saying, no, we don't want the Iron Fist
no,
one.
no, I don't. I
back.
think he's done with all this
Yeah.
Marvel stuff.
His just was horrible.
what was the next comic on your list?
Oh, it was probably, well, I have Daredevil Born Again, and then
I think Ultimate Spider-Man was the next
Spider-Man
one.
was your,
Yeah.
which you always like brag to me about for.
Oh
being,
yeah,
like,
no,
this-
Ultimate Spider-Man, probably one of my favorite artists in Mark Bagley. Just the version that I grew up with, reading comics, because starting around like early 2000s, late 90s, is right around when I started getting into comics. So this was like my first, entry into reading.
Yeah.
You know.
Especially since like I think some of the shows took directly from that, right?
Yeah, I mean the movie too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But-
yeah.
And Ultimate's where we got Miles too, isn't it?
It is. Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, they actually in the Ultimate Universe would never bring back anyone that they killed. It was like their
Big
solemn
no-no.
vow or whatever, And it all started with an Ultimate Spider-Man. So,
Yeah, I've only read it a little bit because I got into Miles and I love Miles.
Oh yeah. I've just played the video game and that got me so into
That
Miles
Miles,
Morales.
yeah. That video game with him was so happy with it.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So many good things.
Oh, and the third one's I think going to have you're going to play as both, or it
See,
looks like it.
The problem I have with the third one is you can't get a PS5. That's my problem.
and no one can find.
I'm not going to brag that I have one. I apologize.
So when the game comes out, we're all going to his house to
Right.
play it.
He just nominated himself.
Yeah, I know, right? I should have put myself on the spot.
Because Sony's like, hey, since we can't put out PS5s, guess what? Here's some more PS4s we're remaking for you. Yeah, we don't want that. I just want the PS5 because I want the new Spider-Man game.
Just gonna wait for the newer version, new and improved PS5 whenever that comes out in 5 years.
Might as well just wait till the PS6.
At that point,
Right,
yeah.
just the next
That'll probably
generation.
come out first.
Yeah. Would you say your Daredevil Born Again issue or series anyway would be a good start to Daredevil? Because I've never actually read Daredevil myself.
I would say probably go with a different run because you'll probably get more out of it. There's a lot of calling back to other things. I mean, you could if you really wanted to. There's like a year one storyline for Daredevil, and it's also by Frank Miller.
So what is this one about?
This one,
'Cause I haven't
yeah.
read this one.
Right. Starting out, I mean, a lot of the themes in Daredevil are very similar, and this one is no different, where you have Matt Murdock, vigilante by night, lawyer by day,
Yeah. Blind.
blind lawyer. He's a really good lawyer. But basically, he's down on his luck, and it starts out with Karen Page, his love interest, giving up his identity for she's like a druggie, more or less, and so she's giving it up for that, and then one thing leads to the next. Kingpin finds out that Matt Murdock is Daredevil, and just ruins his life from there on out throughout the entire series or story.
Interesting.
I think it's the story that they took inspiration from when making the third season for the Daredevil
Yeah.
Netflix series, where it's like you got Bullseye impersonating Daredevil. It's that whole thing.
Now, at the time, was that like one of those issues that it was like a big deal? Because there was the issue that like Green Arrow saw. What was his name? Arsenal or Red Arrow, I guess,
Yeah.
shooting up heroin or something, and then that was like a huge deal because it was like
Because they're talking about drugs and
Yeah.
Because at the time you think comics were kids and everything. Now we're bringing drug use into it.
Right.
So that was a big topic for that.
Yeah.
I think it was around that time actually.
Yeah, I could imagine. Does this come out in
86.
So, yeah. I mean, everybody's doing coke in the 80s, right? So,
Yeah. Not me. I wasn't old enough. Wait, let me rephrase that. Coke's bad at any age. Let me
wasn't old
rephrase that.
we're gonna quote
Say
you
I'm not
here
old
now.
enough doesn't sound right.
But what was some of yours? Like, I know we talked a little bit about it.
So we're going to bring back Todd McFarlane. How? Where did we see that coming? Spawn. Spawn, just the whole stories with Spawn was great, and all the characters we got from Angela, which we see due to copyright issues, a fight between him and someone. Angela's now in Marvel, part of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Interesting.
You didn't know about that?
I didn't know about that.
Oh, we'll have to talk about that on a whole nother episode. Yes, so Angela, McFarlane co-created her, and he didn't own the rights technically, so she went to Marvel. She's Guardians of the Galaxy now. But the storylines in Spawn were more adult themed. They were more violent. You had the one, I forgot what issue it was, but he was a child predator, and he found him, hung him upside down, tortured him, shoved ice cream down his throat. Because the guy had an ice cream van when he preyed on children, so it had issues like that. So comics for that were a lot darker. So, and you got some great characters, Sam and Twitch. Who else? I can't remember all the characters now. But then it spawned the movie, which was horrible. But I love it.
Every time I think of the movie, I'm thinking of the transition where his cape
Yes.
flies down and it transitions into another scene. It's horrific.
Yeah.
Horrifically beautiful, I should say, because
So many things were wrong with that movie, but McFarlane didn't have creative control over the movie. And so there were copyright issues that the studio had where they had changed people's names from with Jessica Priest and Chapel and all that.
Right.
So it was still good.
yeah.
John Leguizamo was a good clown. I enjoyed him.
There's a couple of characters for our comic that I had based off the look for Sam and Twitch.
Okay.
Just because I just love the look of them for some reason. I don't know. I always really liked the way they looked. But they have
Then
a new
you had Violator.
yes,
Violator was great.
yes, Violator.
But then, because of the Spawn comics, that's when McFarlane decided, hey, I want to do something different. Let's put out toys.
Yes.
And he did the whole Spawn toy line, which was huge. Then after that, he's like, I want to do more and branch out into sports and everything else that he does now.
Yeah.
So toy-wise, he's great at it.
But I don't know if the new movie that they're going to be rebooting.
Oh, I can't wait. Sooner or later, one day it'll come out.
Yeah, he keeps saying, he's like,
I may
"We're gonna
be
do it."
80 by the time that movie comes out.
But you're going to go watch it.
But I will
right.
still be the first seat. Yeah.
I didn't know Jeremy Renner was going to be in it though.
Yeah, there's
Oh, really?
rumors of him and what's his name? The one that played Electro.
Jamie Foxx.
Jamie Foxx
Yeah,
being
they say
Spawn.
They say he's going to be
Yeah. Being Al Simmons.
Yes,
I'm not
Al
sure how I feel about that, but we'll see. But I'm hoping one day, come on, McFarlane, hurry up and finish it. One of my favorites, weird enough, because I love both of these groups, is the issues we had, the Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles team up.
You're gonna have to teach me about these because this is not stuff I got. I had read.
I've always loved Power Rangers, and I grew up with the Ninja Turtles cartoon. So I never got into the comics at the time,
Yeah.
but this was great because you had Shredder becomes the Green Ranger. A whole lot of shit happens. I'll bring the comics in for y'all.
Hey, all right.
But the Zords come into play. The Turtles actually get into the Ranger uniforms. The Rangers put on like the Ninjetti type outfits at one point. It just gets awesome.
Did you have all the fun with it?
Yeah. And-
This is the first time we've touched Boom Studios or IDW.
So yeah, I think they do a great job. And this was a great series that they did. Hopefully they'll do more of it. I know those comics now, try and find a first print of them's getting hard. Luckily I was able to go ahead and buy them in like every copy of variant that they put out just because I wanted them all. And speaking of variants, what do y'all think about variant covers?
It's too much sometimes for me. You know, like it sucks.
I
because-
appreciate it though, because it's variety. You know.
Yeah.
If you want to buy the comic, support it more than
Yeah.
you already are.
But how many variants should a comic have?
That's a good question.
Because McFarlane goes overboard. He'll do like 15, 20 different variants
Yeah,
of a
because
comic.
it's almost like if you're trying to just resell it, you
That's
have
what
to
it's
buy all
for.
of them to see which one is the most expensive one.
Yeah.
And
So,
for a
like-
collector, it makes it hard because you won't buy them all.
Exactly. But some people, a lot of people don't have the money for that.
Yeah,
So
sure.
especially if like now the comic prices are, it seems like they're going up. It's like $4.99 an issue or something like that.
And some comics are even more when they first come out. Like my next topic, Ninja Turtles: Last Ronin. That one was a fun comic. Have y'all read that?
I know that's where it started, right? Well, not the last Ronin necessarily, but Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles as a whole was this comic book series first, right?
Yeah, they originally started off comic book, black and white. It was real dark and edgy back then when it came out in the 80s. It wasn't anything like your typical comics. Then Ninja Turtles became more cartoony, more for kids and everything. Last Ronin took it back to the old art style being dark. And the basis of this is all the turtles but one get murdered slowly. Shredder, not Shredder, the rat, Splinter gets murdered, and there's only one turtle left, and you don't know who he is because he takes up the mantle of the Ronin character, and he carries all their weapons and starts fighting with all their weapons.
That sounds
So
sick.
it was great. It was bloody. It was the murders in that for the turtles was really good. Then, so the whole time you're trying to figure out which one is this? So before they actually announced it, I was sitting there, I'm like, all right, what one would make sense? Too easy to be Leonardo because he's a leader. So we can't have him. We can't have Donatello. And so it was between Raphael and Mikey, and it actually became Mikey.
Really?
Was the last one.
I was gonna say-
the most immature one there
gonna say,
is
yeah.
was the one that survived.
That was when you were saying that only one of them, and you weren't saying who. I was thinking Mikey for that reason because it's like the most unexpected one.
Yeah.
But like
Because
also
he's
he was,
always
like-
had the attitude of a child, a
Yeah.
teenager, just not mature.
Yeah, he was always my favorite. in the
Ralph would be too
cartoons and
obvious, you know.
Yeah, because Ralph has that badass attitude, like I don't give a F, I'm going to kill anybody that gets my way.
stuff. Yeah, I almost wish they would make a movie for that, like the last, maybe
that would
not the
be
last
awesome.
Ronin, but like the darker version of Ninja Turtles.
That would be good. We need another good live action movie
Yes.
because the last ones we got were not that good. I don't think we've ever had any good ones since the original one came out. Let me rephrase that.
Full on
Hey.
Transformers with it.
Yeah.
No, I mean they did it eventually with Batman. Like it took a while, but
The Batman Ninja Turtle cartoon was good.
oh, I heard about that.
That one
yeah.
was actually good. I enjoyed that. But yeah, it took a while for a good Batman movie to come out because
So-
we had 89, which was great. Then
Yeah.
we had the sequel, which, okay, not bad. Then they just got dumpster fire after
Yeah,
that.
I
They were
guess-
just garbage.
I guess I forgot about the 80s, but I personally am not a huge fan of the 89 one. I'll see myself
Shots
out.
fired.
I'm so sorry.
It's
We
very
all can be wrong
stylized.
about something. It's okay.
But I mean, Adam West though.
Oh, yeah.
So,
That one was Batman, the Adam West movie. What was it? Shark repellent.
yes. Oh yes.
Let me get the shark repellent and spray on the shark. Like, really? But that was the 70s. Who cared
Yeah.
back then?
Yeah. Oh my god.
Right, it allowed for the character to go the other way.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And now we got a kick-ass Batman now. So what comics are y'all looking forward to coming out?
I am continuing to read Oblivion Song. I really
So,
like the story for that.
What is that?
So it starts. These scientists basically morph in this other world that basically completely destroys this part of New York. I think it takes place in, and it brings a little bit of part of that world into the Earth, and then a little bit of Earth into that world. Some people get sucked into that Earth. So on Earth, they all think they died. The scientist who who allowed it to happen, not necessarily, but has figured out a way to warp back into that world. And he eventually finds his brother, and along with a lot of other people, and wants to bring them back to Earth. They've all formed their own community there. It's basically their utopia. They don't want to go back to Earth. They have no reason to. They're like, we've started new here and fresh, and we just learned from that little battle there about him wanting to bring his brother back and his brother not being able to come back to Earth and figure it out. So It's really interesting.
Definitely gotta
And
check
it's
that
Robert
one out.
Kirkman, so it's hard not to get into Robert Kirkman's story. His
It really
writing
is.
is just
With the new
Amazing.
Invincible show that just came out, I bought the omnibus. I've been trying to read that. It's very long.
yeah.
Wait, what show?
Invincible.
What channel is that on?
It's on Prime.
Yeah, it's
Amazon Prime.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
That's probably why I haven't seen it then.
You
Yeah,
gotta
and
do
I
that.
haven't watched. Been on Prime.
Check out the first episode. You'll do yourself a favor, man.
Invincible. Actually, the reason I think he created that was because not Spawn. Image didn't necessarily have a superhero team storyline, and he wanted to do that
Because I don't think
without-
Youngbloods is even around anymore.
Right. So he wanted to bring that back without taking a shot or anything at like DC or Marvel or anything. So he did it in his own way. And I think even in one of the issues, he's at like a funeral and you see oh my god, it's one of the original Image characters. He's like a dragon. What's his name? Captain Dragon? Is it something Dragon?
Oh,
Please, someone.
Imagine Dragons? No.
Yes, it was
Yes,
Imagine
it was
Dragons.
I know what you're talking about.
Savage Dragon?
Savage.
Savage Dragon? Oh my
Maybe.
god, this is gonna.
I know what you're
bother
talking
me.
about. He's basically the Hulk.
Yeah, Savage Dragon.
Yeah.
Savage Dragon. Okay,
Yeah.
yeah,
He's got a little fin.
yeah. So and he makes like a small appearance in the and I think they actually brought Savage Dragon back as a running series because I think it stopped for a while. I don't know. I didn't read it, so don't quote me on any of it.
The only Image comics I read back in the day was Youngblood and Spawn.
Right. And
Because-
Youngblood was Jim Lee's, right?
No.
I don't
want to say it's Rob
remember.
Liefeld.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah.
'Cause what
Jim
was
Lee, they had, I forget what he had. He it's now DC's though.
Yes.
Because he merged,
right?
but I forget what
That pansy.
Yeah.
No, I love Jim Lee because
Yeah, it's Rob.
him
Sellout.
and yeah. Okay, Rob Liefeld, and they're actually making a movie off of one of Rob Liefeld's characters starring Jake Gyllenhaal. And I'm a huge Jake Gyllenhaal fan. I don't know who this guy. Oh, John. I can't think of his name. I told you about it not too long ago,
Definitely have to check into that.
but
Oh,
I'm trying to think of what.
you mean the character's name?
Yes,
Yeah, I forget.
it's John something. It's like John Patriot or something.
Yeah.
something like that. I don't even.
I'll have to check into that.
Yes. So anyway, that they're making a movie or something based off of that. Oh, and an Oblivion song movie or series with Jake Gyllenhaal. Anyway, that just reminded me of that because I'm a huge Jake Gyllenhaal fan and I love Oblivion song.
What about you? Any comics you're looking forward to?
At the moment, I'm just trying to finish up with the Invincible, at the omnibus. Like I said, it's been interesting, to say the least.
Yeah.
But nothing that's coming out that I'm into at the
Now,
moment. I have to get into the store again.
You and I
figure out
both
what
got
wanna
into this.
Start reading.
You and I both got into this series
Oh, yeah.
called Life Story, which they're now
Oh, that's
starting to
right.
do with different teams. They did it with Spider-Man first. They're now currently finishing up Fantastic Four.
I did really enjoy that.
So they. I didn't mean to cut you off about what you're looking forward to, Jordan. I'm sorry, but
No,
I know we had.
You
I was
just
bringing
reminded
some-
me about
yeah.
the Life Story one.
So basically, they take a character, Spider-Man, and then put him starting in the 60s, and then he grows throughout the decades. So like the issue 1's 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, and then he's like an old man in the
Yeah.
thousands. So that I look forward to more of those. And then there's a Devil's Reign series that they're currently doing for Marvel that looks pretty interesting. So looking forward to that.
See, I don't even know what comics I'm looking forward to. I haven't been to the shop in a while to see what story arcs are out now. So it's right now it's just going back and reading stuff I haven't read that I want to read, like I'm Lock and Key. I want to
Yes.
read that. I got hooked on a show. I'm like, okay, I need to go back and buy all that and read that. What shows are you looking forward to based on comics or movies?
I guess I can say Oblivion song now. I think that's. Yeah, I mean, obviously the Batman film, everything we've discussed today.
What about The Boys?
I didn't watch season 2 yet. I know. I watched.
I'm still going through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a great show.
Yeah. I mean, and as far as movies goes, I hope they bring back Daredevil for something. I know he's going to be in probably the She-Hulk series. I can only imagine.
Oh, I hope so. Yeah.
Him and Punisher, I hope get to meet again.
What is it? Peacemaker came out today. That
That's
show
right.
came out today with
yes, it
John
did.
Cena.
Yeah.
And one of my friends posted, even if you don't like the show, watch the first 7 minutes because you'll laugh your ass off.
I can
I'm
imagine.
like, okay, so I know what I'm watching when I get home tonight. I
It's still
need to
James
watch
Gunn,
it.
right? Like
Yeah.
he still made the show.
Yeah.
So,
So, and it takes place literally right after the movie of Suicide Squad,
great.
which the second movie wasn't as bad as the first.
Oh, well, yeah, you could say that. That's one way. Of
I
putting
still
it.
enjoyed it because I think I liked how comic-y it was. Because it was like Starro of all
Yeah.
villains is who you're going to bring into this, and it's like, oh, it's James Gunn. Let him do whatever he wants. You know, he's
Is it-
really taking
was
a lot
it,
of fire from Marvel.
Polka Dot Man?
Where he was
Yes.
at the time. Yo, yes.
Probably the best part of the movie for me.
Oh yeah.
King
Oh, the-
Shark.
Yep.
I was mad Nathan Fillion was killed in the first 5 minutes because
Arm fall off, boy?
I'm a huge Firefly fan.
Oh,
I
yes.
love Firefly, so I've always been a fan of Nathan. Even before Firefly, when he did Two Guys, a Girl, and a Pizza Place with Ryan Reynolds.
Yes.
So seeing him, I'm like, yes, he's a superhero. He's gonna be great. I love it. Shit, he's dead already.
Yeah.
Okay, Michael Rourke. Sure, he's dead. All right. There goes my hope for any good characters.
Yeah.
Come on, let's kill John Cena. Nope. He survives.
Yeah.
Thanks. Thanks.
Hey, we got Polka Dot Man though.
Yes. For till he died.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true.
Another casualty.
That is true.
But his character was funny. I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
So it's almost time. It's been fun for our first episode. We'll be here hopefully live coming up soon every week. Thank y'all. I hope y'all
Thank
enjoyed
you.
it. Hope y'all come back.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, yeah.
Hopefully we'll keep doing this show every week. If you have a comic book character you want us to talk about, just drop in a chat, email, and we'll definitely do it. And let's go ahead and go over the emails one more time real quick if we can. You can email us, follow us on social media. There's everything right there. I'm not reading you off again. Definitely check out Mark Muncie's Eerie Travels. We definitely miss you, Mark. Hopefully you'll be on the show sometime soon because we need to talk about some strange and unusual comics, and that's up your alley. So it's been a fun week. I can't wait to see what next week's show will be about.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
So we'll
I really
catch y'all next week. Have a good night.